Welcome back to Catholic Plus, where we are finding faith in fun. Join me as we mine entertainment for the treasures of our faith to serve you and the new evangelization. Today we explore Force Ghosts and intercessory prayer in the Communion of Saints. If you like Catholicism and Star Wars, click that like button. And if you'd like to see more from Catholic Plus about Star Wars, Marvel, and more, click the subscribe button and tap the bell icon. In a previous video, we explored the Communion of Saints from Catholicism and how it appears in Star Wars, most notably in the climax of Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, with Rey almost praying to the deceased Jedi, who come to her aid with both encouragement and almost grace-like assistance through the Force. Like saints and angels can intercede for us through the will and power of God. What we see with Force Ghosts throughout Star Wars is that they are like saints who appear or just are heard by others who need guidance, advice, training, and the like. We have similar things in Catholicism with both apparitions and locutions of saints. An apparition is when a saint appears and may speak to a person on earth. A locution is when they only speak. For example, in the original trilogy, we have the recently deceased ObiWan speaking to Luke as he's in the Death Star trench of A New Hope. He provides advice on trusting the Force as a locution. Later, in The Empire Strikes Back, Obi-Wan actually appears as an apparition on Hoth, telling Luke to find Yoda on Dagobah. Once on Dagobah at Yoda's house, Obi-Wan again only speaks with Yoda in Luke's presence as a locution. But later, Obi-Wan is visible again, both in The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi after Yoda's death on Dagobah as an apparition. We see Yoda and Anakin with Obi-Wan at the end of Return of the Jedi as apparitions, and the sequel trilogy has both an apparition of Yoda coming back to talk to Luke, as well as Luke as an apparition coming back to talk to Rey. The prequel trilogy entirely lacks this kind of appearance of Force Ghost apparitions, for reasons that we'll have to explore in a future video about how a Jedi can become a Force Ghost in the first place, which wasn't even known to the Jedi back during that time until we get hints of it in Revenge of the Sith. If you're a Clone Wars fan, you'll recall the locutions Yoda had with Qui-Gon Jinn as he was beginning to grasp the potential for communicating with fallen Jedi through the Force, like we communicate with the saints and angels through God. Now, sacred scripture and the Catholic Church forbid necromancy, or communicating with the deceased through things like mediums or other occult practices. However, by the power and will of God, it is also possible for us to communicate with those in heaven through prayer and ask for their help and intercession. When they answer back, that's in the form of a locution or apparition, which we also see in Star Wars. Consider that nearly any time we have a locution or apparition in Star Wars, the person is in need of assistance. This is especially true of all the examples mentioned already, except perhaps for Qui-Gon reaching out to Yoda through the Force. Yoda may not have been in need of something at that time, but like God, the Force has a will and presumably a knowledge of the future. Knowing what was set in motion with Darth Sidious in Order 66, soon to transpire, the Force may have known the need for this kind of special intercession between deceased Jedi and aspiring Jedi like Luke and Rey, who would have so few Jedi to teach them in person. Speaking of intercessory prayer, prayer is also shared territory between Star Wars and Catholicism. In one scene in The Empire Strikes Back, Luke finds himself beaten and helpless, hanging beneath the cloud city of Bespin after confronting Darth Vader in battle for the first time and losing his right hand. While hanging beneath Cloud City, Luke desperately cries out in what seems like a prayer to the deceased Obi-Wan, like praying to the saints. Luke cries out, Ben, please." Not hearing an immediate answer, Luke then turns to another source of aid, Leia Organa. He calls, "Hear me, Leia." Through the possible intercession of Obi-Wan, and definitely through the power and will of the Force, Leia senses that Luke is in danger and needs her help. She instructs the crew of the Millennium Falcon to turn back to Cloud City, and they find Luke there in peril. I think this is a fantastic example of prayer and intercession connecting between Catholicism and Star Wars. As Catholics, saints are constantly interceding on our behalf. In the most extraordinary of examples, the normal process to become a saint requires 2 miracles worked through their intercession. One before beatification and the other following beatification and preceding canonization. Considering the remarkable number of saints canonized in the last century, we have ample opportunity to research and explore the numerous times saints have been proven to have interceded to provide God's help here on earth. With a few hundred beatifications and canonizations in the 20th century alone, we have several hundred recent miracles approved and investigated by the Church as examples of this kind of holy intercession. That's so many more than the intercession found in Star Wars. Sometimes people like to say Star Wars isn't real, and they're right. But what I really enjoy is that the truth is sometimes even stranger and more beautiful than fiction. And the amount of grace flowing from heaven through the intercession of the angels and saints is even more profound than the help from Force ghosts in Star Wars. But what do you think about all this? And did I miss anything? Comment below so that we can share more spiritual insights together. If you're proud to be Catholic and a fan of Star Wars, be sure to like, subscribe, and click the share button below to help evangelize with us. Special thanks to all Catholic Plus patrons who make Catholic Plus possible. To see the thank you gifts you can receive by supporting Catholic Plus, like my book on Star Wars and Catholicism, check out our Patreon page in the link in the description below. Remember, the Lord will be with you always.